Hey everyone, Dave from BCBushcraft here. Today we're going to do a very simple video on how I deal with rust when I'm out in the field. So I'm in my backyard right now, but I'm just going to show you how I deal with rust on my carbon steel blades. Today in particular, I have my Rat 3, which has a bunch of rust on it. I'll show you what's in my field sharpening kit to deal with rust when I'm in the field, and it's really simple. There's a few ways that you can do it, but this is the way that I do it. Your rust will show just if you have a bit of water on your blade and you don't deal with it within a day. Rust happens incredibly quickly on these carbon steel blades. So this is my field sharpening kit. This is my bare bones field sharpening kit, and I only have a few things in here. So first off, what you want to do obviously is wipe off your blade of any other moisture and things like that. So I have a little bit of a rag just from an old t-shirt just to wipe off excess moisture in there. Next up, I have a tiny piece of steel wool. And then I have some olive oil to treat the blade afterwards. Also in here is just a piece of a leather belt, diamond sharpener, and some stropping compound. On top of that, sometimes I'll carry some 1500 grit sandpaper as well in my kit if I want to deal with this knife. So first up, the first thing that we're going to do is you take your steel wool and you just get rid of all of your rust. Now, I already de-rusted this and my camera stopped filming when I had done it. So basically what's going to happen is you take your steel wool and you can rub it on your blade and the rust will come out, but you will be left with these marks, which is the patina. So the only way to actually get rid of that patina is to take sandpaper to it. You can obviously, a lot of people will just leave the patina. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to do anything bad. It can add a little bit more protection to rust over time. But basically, if you want that kind of shiny blade look, you have to use sandpaper. So basically all I do is I wrap my sandpaper around my sharpening stone to give me a flat surface, and then I'll support this, and then I'll just make lengthways motions, and I'll begin to polish the blade with a high grit sandpaper. Now you can use any grit you want depending on the type of finish that you want for your knife. I just happen to have 1500 grit available. So you have to be, one thing you have to be careful of is your edge, obviously, because if you slip when you're doing this, it's better to have this in a vise. But if you're out in the field, another way to deal with rust is to use sandpaper. So it hasn't removed the patina completely, but it's taken out a lot more of it. So you can continue to do that until you have a nice shiny blade. So after some sanding and a bit of a strop, I've got I've got all of the rust off of it. And I'm still left with a little bit of a patina. Now the finish obviously isn't perfect, but I didn't finish this knife perfectly after I removed the coating off of it. But basically that's all that I do to remove the rust and kind of remove some of the gunky patina off of this knife in particular. So after we've removed the rust and you've decided whether you've wanted to sand your blade, you can obviously start with a lower grit, something, you move your way up from 600 to 1000 and you'll get a way better finish than what I did. I haven't sand finished this knife totally, to have a mirror finish or anything like that. I just wanted to get the coating off of it. But after that stage, I'll typically just give it a wipe, and then we will apply the oil of your choice, whether it's mineral oil or olive oil, I don't know, walnut oil, whatever, peanut oil. I don't know if peanut oil works. Maybe it does. The oil of choice, and this will just help prevent rust from forming on it when you sheath it. It will rub off through use, so when you're actually using your blade, make sure to wipe off your blade frequently And when you put it away at nighttime, just give your blade a good wipe down and coat it with oil. And it should be good for the next morning, because usually most of the time when you get a rusty blade is you've been using it all day, it looks fine, you put it in the sheath at nighttime, you wake up in the morning and you got rust on your blade. In that scenario, that's when I'll hit it up with the steel wool. And I probably wouldn't sandpaper it out in the field, but you can obviously bring a bit of sandpaper in your kit, something like that. It doesn't take up much space, and you basically have to do these steps, oil it up, and you're good for the next day. And that's what I do in the field when I'm dealing with rust, especially in wet environments, it's the rainy season right now, and it's very wet for me. So my blades get rust on them quite easily. So overall, this is a pretty basic video to remove rust from your blades. Most people know how to do something like this, but this is more for a beginner who has a carbon steel blade, doesn't know how to take care of it. Having steel wool on you will definitely get the rust out of your axes and your knives. And if you use sandpaper, you can get the patina off of it as well if you don't like the patina. I personally like patinas on my knives because it's a little bit less maintenance. I just use the steel wool and leave the patina on it. And I plan to do a patina with the Rat 3, but I'm going to do a nicer sanding finish on it before I do something like that. So overall, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight on not only what I do, but what you could possibly do to prevent your tools from rusting out in the woods. This is Dave from BC Bushcraft. As always, please like, please subscribe, and please comment. I like your comments and everything like that. So until the next video, I hope you guys have a good day.